We have with us Fanni Regina Ferencz.
Perfection! Hi, everyone!
And you're from Trained Stars, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So I've invited a trick trainer on with us today. It's very rare that I talk to a trick trainer. And, usually I'm just in these Facebook groups of balanced versus positive, and not too many people are even talking about uh tricks. So that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. The way that I came across you was there was a post on social media from a stunt school,
Yeah.
and they were bragging about you basically, and as one of their star students. And it turns out that not only were you a student of theirs, you also taught other students.
Yes, I did. It was such a blessed and such an amazing opportunity and experience.
Mm.
And I got to make so many friends along the way and learn from all of the trainers that have taught me. And it was just an extraordinary, one of a lifetime online experience, and it still is.
What was like a turning point for you? Do you remember like what was like an aha moment? I know we both were influenced by Kyra Sundance,
Yes,
who is awesome.
yes, she is. She's incredible. So, um, I would say, well, one of my turning points was when I made it into the mentorship program, which was incredible because around 2 or 3 years ago, it was only like 8 of us in the entire world that made it into the program, and it was just really, really, it really built my confidence a whole lot in that field, and I'm forever grateful for everyone in the Canine Stars youth performer mentorship program who have made that come true.
Only 8 in the whole world?
Yes, I believe it was 8. Yeah,
That's
8 of
amazing.
us. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, one of my first questions for you is when you taught students how
Yeah.
to do tricks with their dogs, what was it like for you as a teacher to humans instead of just teaching your dogs tricks? Like, what was that like to have to train people? And were there any teachers that taught you? Is there anything you could say about that? Like,
So it was more like a positive feedback kind of thing, where we had like lessons during Sundays, and we always give out the homework for the students. For example, building a trick training sequence or doing a trick training title that they would like to do. And so I had several other trick trainers with me who have taught me before I became an online coach, and they have helped me through along the way so much. Like the positive feedback that I got from them really, really inspired me. So I always try to do the same, and I always try to inspire the students that come along the way. So yeah, and then there was a time when I actually did the homework that was assigned to the students again because it was just so much fun.
hmm.
So I did mostly positive feedback around all of the homeworks because it was just such a rewarding experience to watch the students grow in every possible way with their dogs.
So my next question for you is, what is the most, if there is one, what is the most fun trick for you to do with a dog?
Okay, I love that question already. So I would say it's their choosing because I teach a lot of tricks for my dogs using positive reinforcement and reward based training, but it really depends on my dogs and it varies so much. Like for example, my 13 years old dog Ében, she still really really loves to do handshakes. And then there's Lilith, my 1.5 years old terrier, who loves to do all kinds of jumping tricks. They are just her favorite, and she's really bouncy. So it each depends on my dogs. But I just leave it up to them. Whichever they prefer is our current favorite.
Hmm. We talked about this off the air. Do you ever have like have you ever had a moment with a dog where like let's just say you got them really kind of like there was food out and they really wanted the food or they smelled the food and they just start offering behaviors.
Yes, yes, there was. And one of my favorite moments is actually recorded, thankfully, in one of our training sessions. It was with my Zara, who is my 4 years old Schnauzer mix, and we practiced jumping through a hula hoop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And at first she did the jumps, but then she took the hula hoop out of my hand and she started to spin around with it. And she did a couple of spins and it was so sweet, and then she just put it down, like through her head, and then she went under it, and then it was like a whole trick.
So, okay, so that's a perfect example. So the dog just happens to offer some sort of a quirky behavior.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm right about this. You can capture that behavior and then you can later put it on cue.
Yes, exactly. So I believe that it takes lots of repetitions and keeping it super fun in order to get the dog to understand the cue properly. And it's just such a fun process to watch their brains work and watch them figure it out and then get it and then they understand and they love to do it. So I just love to see that part of our process every time.
Have you ever heard the term compulsion trainer?
Yes, sadly I have.
So, what you do kind of shows the limitations of compulsion trainers because you can't force a dog to have fun.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's so far away from me to force anything onto my dogs, honestly. And I just feel extremely sorry and extremely sad if anyone had stumbled across any um trainers like that. And I feel like as a community we should do better and educate everyone better on those topics, if you know what I mean.
Oh, definitely. I think it's really important. I've actually never seen any two people discuss what we're about to
Mhm.
discuss on YouTube, which is what you were describing, where a dog kind of just does some weird behavior and then you
Mhm.
get repetitions of it. And
Yeah.
then later on, you can put it on cue.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to talk about this for a minute because I think that your average pet owner probably is a little
Mhm.
frustrated. Like they may go to a dog training book or even the book that we both love, 101 dog training, 101 dog tricks. But still, they may go to some other book, sit down, stay down in
Mhm.
motion, blah, 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 all of these things. But I want them to know that you can think outside of your box, outside of the box, and there is no box. And also, your dog may do something that no dog has ever done before, you know?
Yeah, and that's so cool. Like the opportunity that's there, and they're having fun at the same time. I just love that whole concept. Like it's just so much fun, the whole trick training, and that they have this opportunity to like shine in front of us. You know, it's just really fun.
Yeah, tell me about sequences.
Okay, so a sequence is practically when you have like a few tricks and you put them together. And it can start off as like something really simple, like a sit and then shake and then down and then maybe a bang or play that trick or whichever the owner and the dog prefers. And then I feel like even if you have a simple sequence or simpler routine, it can still be really impressive. And like the whole point is that the dog should really enjoy it, and like if your dog doesn't like it then there's no point. So for example, for us, I have Ében, who is now 13 years old. but she had a really, really amazing positive reinforcement trick training career throughout her younger years.
Hmm.
We got several opportunities to perform at our pet beauty show in my elementary school, and it was super fun because we got to show some of my some of my former classmates and many of the kids and teachers that even rescue or shelter dogs do have it in them. Using positive reinforcement, reward-based training, lots of love and treats and fun training sessions. And so, for example, if you do a show and uh, and you do one wrong step during your routine, the crowd has no idea that you did that, which is really awesome. Because then you can move on to another trick. If your dog doesn't do one trick, then you don't need to panic or show it in your face. You can just move on to a trick that your dog loves more in a sequence, even like during a performance. And I did do that on many occasions with my dog during our performances.
Give me a simple example of a sequence.
Okay, so one of our favorite is like two spins, four leg waves, a sit pretty, another spin, reverse into middle, backing up, and then treats.
Okay.
If you're
Now,
talking about short one.
yeah. So let's talk about markers for a minute, okay? Um, what do you use for a marker personally?
I use the word, I use the word yes in
Okay.
Hungarian.
So, and what is yes in Hungarian?
It's igen.
Egon. Egon? Say it
Yeah,
again.
igen.
Egan.
Awesome. Perfection.
That's interesting. Um, so okay, I have a question. Like and this is the part of what we talk about. I want like dog trainers to be into it, and part of it I want regular dog owners to pick up on something. And the thing I want you to talk a little bit more about is EGAN. Like I
Okay.
no, hold on. I think a lot of pet owners, at least in the US, have caught on to markers. They're using clickers or yes or EGAN or whatever they're using. And but they're used to doing it after each thing. Like, are you using EGAN at the end of the sequence or after each thing in the sequence?
Well, I usually, if I'm teaching the sequence, then I use igen between the tricks,
Mm.
or others, which is like you do the right thing, keep going. So I usually use igen as the rewarder marker word. So if I say igen, then she instantly gets the treat. And if I use others, then it means that you are doing amazing, keep going, and then you will get the treat later, a little bit later.
And how do you know when to switch it up? Is it predetermined or is it just kind of in the moment?
Well, it usually depends on how long the sequence is. So I usually reward a whole lot more often when we have a longer sequence, and I am able to reward less when we have like a short one. So like after maybe 6 tricks in a longer one, I always reward. And if we do a shorter sequence, then I sometimes reward after 3 tricks and sometimes reward after 1 trick. It just depends on the sequence that we are doing.
Okay. I have a weird question for you,
Okay.
which which is I'm always interested in where different schools of dog training might intersect and complement each other. For example, this is
Mhm.
one of the things that got us talking was when I look at tricks that dogs could learn, I think about like one of the things a lot of people want to learn with service dogs is they want to teach the dogs to interrupt certain behaviors, for example. And I was just wondering, like, are there any things that have never been used to interrupt human behavior or human anxiety or
Mhm.
something like that. Maybe a trick, like for example, a rebound would probably be inappropriate, especially in an airport. A rebound is like, for the dog jumps on you, right? With its back feet and it kind of
Yeah,
bounces off of you.
yeah.
But are there any kind of behaviors that you think maybe would be appropriate that maybe have never been used with
Mhm.
service dogs before?
Yeah. Well, I feel like one would be the pickpocketer when your dog um grabs grabs something out of your pocket,
Hmm.
and maybe it could be a device that helps the individual person, or a phone or something that helps with the condition or anything. And maybe it could be sit pretty, or paw, or maybe a hand target. I know that's commonly used, but still I feel like it's such a neat thing to use a hand target, like when they touch the handler's hand with their nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pickpocket thing, I actually have seen something like that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is interesting.
Mm.
Um, oh, I wanted to give you the names that AI gave me.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to give you the names that AI, because we both like Kyra Sundance and she has like a fun name and your
Yeah.
name, I'm not saying your name's not fun, but I asked AI to give me some funny, like fun names that are like kind of like Sundance. So one of them, I think let me just say the best one was Fanni Wildflower.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh.
Um, some of them are stupid. I'm not going to read all of them. One was Fanni Moonbeam.
Oh. It's cute.
One was Fanni Raindrop,
It's getting better and better.
Fanni Starlight.
Oh, I like that one.
Are any of these going to become your name, or is that not possible?
I'm
Uh,
not sure. We will see.
Fanni Sparkle.
Oh, oh, they're so funny.
Yeah, the rest weren't that good. Those were the good ones. I'm gonna make a statement, and you tell me if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
Not every dog needs to be trained.
Hmm. Wow. I feel like it depends what kind of training we are talking about first. And I feel like if we are like the whole um the whole basic training, which is like stay calm, like the essentials that can make both the dog's life a whole lot more fun, safer, and easier, and then our lives as well, then I really, really have to disagree. And then if we are like talking about like dog sports, then of course not every dog needs to do sports, but it definitely has so many benefits, both on the dog part and on the human part as well. And I feel like every dog should be taught, the basics, like even loose leash walking. It can be such an like partly hard skill to teach, but it can make the dogs and the humans' lives so much more easier and so much more fun during everyday walks and recall, especially too. And I feel like every training should really be about having fun, and building a really, really positive connection towards each other with our dogs. And it really shouldn't be about force or dominance or anything bad relating.
Okay, but just briefly, the basics to you again are what? Recall, loose leash walking, and what else?
Well, I believe Rika and loose dishwalking are some of the most
Okay.
important things.
Mhm.
Mm, well, sit is not exactly as important as I have thought previously to myself, but I feel like it's also leave it, you know, but it can be really difficult to teach in like high distraction environments, but it can be really, really important. Mm, and stay or wait.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's the main thing
I
for
I
me.
think I think we agree that actually, if you're living with another species, it helps to have at least basic communication, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What would you say to somebody? This is not me saying this. This is just people say things like this. Um that whether it's trick training or whether it's like any other type of education for dogs, they may say you're making the dog into a robot, or like, how do you know that the dog wants to do it? Or like, maybe they just think you're making the dog do it. Like maybe the dog just wants to run in a field and like it doesn't want to do this other stuff. What do you think about that?
I feel like people who feel that way don't really see past the actual fun that the dogs are having with their handlers. And I feel like people who believe that are not really looking into the dog's page that they are seeing a certain video or a certain photo on, they just see like a single video or a photo and assume the worst.
Mhm.
And I feel like I feel like people involved with dogs should have like a basic course on dogs, on body language maybe, and everything related to dogs and their basic needs and everything else dog related that can be basic knowledge on them.
Mhm.
And I feel like people should really look into the page that they are trying to criticize before they do so. And if they just don't like something, then scroll past or scroll down or block the page that you don't like, because people should watch things that they do find enjoyable. And for example, personally, I really, really adore seeing happy working dogs just have fun with their handlers. It's such an awesome experience that we have social media to support each other in that way.
Um, have you ever seen a whale?
Sorry?
Have you ever seen a whale?
Well, not in real life yet,
Mm.
but like online, yes, and in TV too.
What do you think about that? Would you want to see a whale?
Hmm. I would. I would love to see a whale if it's in like a good distance away in the wild, maybe.
Is there is there any kind of wildlife you've never seen in real life you want to see?
Hmm. Maybe vultures. I
Hmm.
like vultures in the wild.
I want to tell you an interesting vulture story that I have.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I have pictures of my cats together with turkey vultures. And
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Um there was like a wildlife rescue that had a bunch of turkey vultures in a cage. Okay? This is an incredible thing. Imagine a bunch of turkey vultures in a cage, whatever, right? And then wild turkey vultures came over and brought food to the vultures that were in the
Oh,
cage.
oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Because people think of vultures as being greedy, but actually they're very giving.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
yeah, there's a lot more about them I could share with you, but not right now. I mean, they also help the spread of disease.
Mhm.
Um Anyway, so vultures is something you would like to see in real life?
Yes.
Okay.
I find them really cool.
We keep your answers short because we have a 7-minute countdown before the Zoom ends.
Oh god, okay.
I'm just gonna ask you some random questions. Have you ever, this is outside of dog training. Have you
Okay.
ever seen anything magical, whether it was like UFOs or ghosts or like any kind of like magical experiences?
Not really.
Okay.
Not that I can think of right now.
Let me think what else. Do you have any questions for me? You don't have to. There's no pressure.
Maybe what's your favorite thing about training service dogs?
Well, I have a dream for a very particular type of service dog training facility. So when that happens, that will be my favorite part.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
rooting for you for that to happen.
But I have so many other favorite parts. It's hard to really pick one, to be honest. But I would say engagement and public access work is part of what's important to me.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay.
when you're choosing a dog that will one day be a future, actually, no, let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
You know the type of dog like a mastiff?
Yes.
Can a dog like that, or like let's say a low energy mastiff, like can a dog like that do tricks? And if so, what kinds of tricks? And why don't we see more dogs like that doing tricks?
I feel like definitely they can do tricks and it's really beneficial for any dog to learn tricks. And I'm not really sure why we don't see mastiffs or any like slower breeds do tricks because even if they are slow, it's extremely beneficial
Hmm,
for them to learn tricks and for them and their handler to build an amazing and really beautiful, full of joy connection towards one another.
hmm.
So, for example, my dog Ében, she's half Cane Corso, and she was still speedier than my half Schnauzer mix, Zara, which is really fun to see. And so I feel like even Mastiffs or English Bulldogs or French Bulldogs should learn tricks because it's just so much fun. And it's awesome to see them shine, even if they are doing it slower or cuter than their faster partners.
Is there any trick that's overwhelming to you or you're intimidated by that you're like, you see another trainer do it with their dog, and you're like, oh my God, how did they even teach that?
I feel like whenever I see another trainer do like a mind blowing trick, it's a really, really big inspiration for me. And I'm really happy that they got to teach that trick to their dog because it's built so much trust and it's such a joyful process to teach any trick. And well, I would say building a whole sequence with my future dogs because my Ében is already a senior dog and she is retired. So building a whole sequence and performing it with my future dogs or currently younger dogs will be a really fun challenge. But I'm confident that we will be able to perform in front of people one day, even if it's like a solo trick training freestyle.
Hmm.
And as for tricks, I feel like the trick that I would love to teach the most to my tiny terrier would be foot stall or maybe a handstand because those are really impressive tricks and it takes lots of repetition and super fun practice to teach it properly and to like get it right. And it's just fun the whole process of building that trust and building up the exercise that we would like to get.
What was the first one? Foot
Foot,
stall?
yeah, it's when they jump up on your feet and you like straighten up your legs and they just like sit on your foot or like in a sit pretty. It's really fun.
Thank you so much. Why don't you shout out your social media real quick?
Oh, so it's at trainedstars in every social media except on Facebook. And I would love to see more people join in into my social medias. because I love all the questions that we just talked about, and I just love to have a conversation about dogs with any people that sincerely love dogs and have a passion for them and for training and tricks and whatever dog sports they are into. So please please feel free to search up our name and follow us if you would like to see our positive reinforcement trick training journey and daily decompression wall contact. And I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity and that you reached out to me. And it has been just so much fun talking with you about dogs and dog stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we
So
only
thank
have we only have about a minute 50 seconds left, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's interesting because dog training, dog education, whether it's trick training or any other type of training, to me, it really comes down to communication.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that the number of different things that you can communicate to a dog, that
Yeah,
are really fun.
yeah. It's magical even for me. Like it's so much fun. And
Mm.
like the clear foundation and clear communication, like both in body language and then like cues is so important. I feel like it's like the main foundation for any behavior.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your time. Really, it has been so much fun, and it just made my whole day even more amazing. So thank you so much.